You avoided the hard conversation. You let someone else handle the cleanup. And for a while, it worked. Until it didn't. In Bluey's Daddy Robot, a silly game spins into something eerie, then revealing. What begins as play ends in a power shift, and a truth we'd rather not face. It starts with a familiar scene, a messy playroom and a parent asking their kids to clean up. Bluey and Bingo protest. Of course they do. No one likes tidying. Let's be honest. Even most adults accidentally vacuum only after stepping on something sharp. But instead of doing the hard thing, they do the clever thing. They find a shortcut. They turn Bandit into Daddy Robot. It works. At first, he obeys, he cleans. The girls relax, proud of their plan. No more tidying ever again, they declare. And that's when everything goes sideways. Because Daddy Robot listens too well. He follows their logic to the letter. If they're the reason the room's a mess, maybe they should be thrown away. A little harsh, but you can't say the guy isn't results-oriented. It's ridiculous and funny, but also deeply familiar. Because how often do we do the same thing as adults? We try to automate our problems away, delegate the mess, avoid the effort, hand off the hard parts of life to someone else. A partner, a parent, a team, a system, even a coping mechanism. And at first, it feels like relief. But over time, we realize we didn't avoid the mess. We just lost control over how it's handled. That's the moment Bluey faces here. The illusion of control shatters. The thing she thought would save her has turned on her, and all she wanted was to rest. It's a quiet reminder for us, too. That effort avoided is rarely effort erased. It usually just reappears with a new face and a louder voice. Shortcuts aren't always solutions. Delegation without understanding isn't leadership. It's avoidance, and if we keep pushing away the things we don't want to deal with, they will find a way to circle back. Usually messier, usually louder, as Bandit spirals, mistaking Bluey for a vacuum, Bingo for laundry, then Bluey again for a guinea pig. The episode slides into absurdist comedy. It's wild, it's imaginative, it's hilarious, but it's also a metaphor. At one point, he plays his daughter like a banjo, not a metaphor, an actual ticklish banjo. Bandit isn't just malfunctioning, he's enacting every chaotic result of unchecked authority paired with unclear communication. The kids gave him power without responsibility, and what they get back is nonsense. Rules without logic, actions without empathy. This mirrors what can happen when adults pass off emotional labor, when we ignore how our commands, even playful ones, can ripple outward. The truth is, play, like power, has to be mutual. It needs boundaries, consent, clarity. Without those, even the most joyful game can veer into fear. It's a striking lesson delivered through robot antics. Even in fun, intentions matter. So what does this mean for us, the grown-ups watching? Here's the real heart of it. Daddy Robot is about the slippery slope of delegation without awareness. It asks, what happens when we give up effort in pursuit of ease? And more painfully, what happens when we don't think through the impact of our choices on others? When Bluey and Bingo treat Bandit like a robot, they stop treating him like a person. It's innocent? Yes, they're kids playing a game. But that moment is uncomfortably familiar, because adults do it too. To partners, to colleagues, to caregivers. We issue commands, expect compliance, forget the human on the receiving end. This episode gently but powerfully reminds us, people aren't tools, even when they love us, even when they play along. Maybe it's the friend who always organizes the group trip, the partner who remembers every appointment, the colleague who just picks up the slack. And when someone malfunctions, loses patience, pushes back, cracks a joke that stings, maybe it's not because they're broken. Maybe it's because they're tired of being treated like a robot. Who in your life has become the quiet fixer? the one who steps in while everyone else steps back. And how often do we actually thank them? And maybe that's the part that stings. The realization that someone you love has been quietly burning out while you assumed everything was fine. Not because they complained, but because they didn't. Because they kept showing up. We don't always notice the wear in people until they start to glitch. And by then, they're already carrying more than they should have had to. Eventually, Bluey and Bingo regain the upper hand. They team up, outwit the bot, power him down with a boop on the nose. But what comes next is the true pivot. They fix him, gently, lovingly, in a workshop lit by a single table lamp. Chili pretends to tinker while Bingo hands over crayons as tools. It's quiet, silly, and full of care. And then, the confession. Bluey admits it was their fault, that they gave Daddy Robot the wrong orders, that the chaos wasn't random, it was born from their own decision to step back from responsibility. And Chili, in that calm, all-knowing mom voice, drops the line that ties it all together. Daddy Robots will find the easiest way to do a job, just like kids. It's playful, but it's a thesis. We all default to ease. It's human. But when we're thoughtful, when we return to empathy, to effort, to collaboration, something changes. And that leads us to the final twist. The last scene is deceptively tender. Bluey and Bingo bring Daddy Robot back online. But this time, they don't ask him to clean. They ask him to relax. They lay him on a tiny couch. They tell him to close his eyes. And then, as Bingo runs off, Bluey smiles and says, "Look who's here." Enter Mummy Robot. They sit side by side, watching the sunset. Chili and Bandit share a kiss, and the music swells in this soft, electric, almost dreamlike way. The children clean, the parents rest, and the balance is restored. But more than that, the roles are reversed. Honestly, Oscar-worthy emotional closure. Bluey and Bingo have gone from outsourcing their mess to taking ownership of it. They've gone from playing the boss to becoming the caretakers, and not out of guilt or obligation, but out of love. That's the hidden message. That's the emotional turning point. True leadership isn't about delegation. It's about responsibility. And love, real love, means sometimes we do the work so someone else can finally rest. Let's be honest. How many of us are running around like Daddy Robots, sputtering, glitching, saying yes to meetings we meant to decline and sure to things we meant to scream no at, juggling demands that never seem to stop, trying to serve everyone while forgetting our own needs? And how many of us are like Bluey at the start, looking for the easiest way out of discomfort, hoping someone else will clean up the emotional mess? Daddy Robot holds up a mirror to both. It reminds us that ease isn't always easeful, and that avoiding effort often creates more chaos. It also quietly asks, when was the last time you told someone who always helps you to sit down, to rest, to just be? And when was the last time you allowed yourself to rest? Not because everything was done, but because someone else stepped in and said, "You don't have to do it all right now." There's wisdom in that final image. Robots on couches, kids doing the chores, sunset in the distance. It's a vision of balance, of care flowing in both directions, of playful chaos giving way to quiet compassion, because sometimes the most loving thing we can do is clean up after ourselves and let the robots, the parents, the partners, the helpers, have a moment to power down. So what did Daddy Robot teach you? Did it remind you of someone you've leaned on a little too hard? Or maybe of a moment when you pushed responsibility away, only to realize it came back in stranger form? Let us know in the comments. And if this story helped you see things a little differently, hit like and subscribe.